Hey, Krista, how you doing? So this is really, I think it's a really good start. I think you've really made a lot of very, very important considerations here. I just kind of want to go through the paper and mention a few things. Now, it seems like you've kind of been going through some of the posts prior to yours, and that's smart. I think it's smart. If you're going to post later in the week, you might as well use what's been posted and my comments to that to your advantage. I mean, that's smart. So I think that was a good idea. I think it looks like that you have taken into consideration some of my comments to other students. And of course, it's an open forum. So that's a resource that's there for you to use, those prior critiques and recommendations from prior submissions. So good job there. Okay, so good setup here. You're talking about what might and might not work. And you had some really good considerations here. So I really enjoyed your intro here. Okay, so you start with your talk about Anchorage and Alaska, and you give some really compelling thoughts and some really compelling arguments as to why it should be there, specifically location, geographic location. That was smart. And I didn't mention that. Then that's something you came with on your own. Let me get rid of something here. Let's just, whoops, didn't want to do that, but I did want to do that. Okay, so where do we go? Okay, so here we are. So, okay, you're talking about how Anchorage compares to past Winter Olympic sites. That's smart. Keep that in your final paper. Definitely expound on that a little bit. They haven't been a host. Anchorage hasn't been a host, and I do believe Anchorage has hosted several like world championships, downhill skiing and figure skating and things like that. So check into that and see how that could possibly relate to your presentation in terms of maybe even using some of the pre-existing venues that are already in Anchorage, located in Anchorage and nearby surrounding areas. Location, geographic location, that was smart. Television, market, live broadcast, that's smart too. Good job there. This is fantastic. The one thing I think that is happening in this paper is this is kind of a brief introductory paper. So you're kind of jumping around a little bit. So what I would recommend is that you take each of these things that I'm mentioning, these really good attributes and these really good considerations that you've brought up, and maybe try to develop each one into its own paragraph instead of jumbling together like radio and then distinct cultures. Do you see what I'm saying? Try to make it a little bit easier for your viewer. Ultimately, the end goal is to really get this organized so that the viewer has a chance to say, this would be a great location, or the viewer has a chance to say, not so much. Do you see what I'm saying? So really try to organize your thoughts in terms of separating your paragraphs by by what is the main thought behind that specific paragraph. Why is Anchorage unique? I don't think we have to get in. Well, I shouldn't say that. We do have to get into that, but I don't think it's really a question. Is Anchorage unique? And the history of the indigenous peoples of Alaska is quite intense. I think very, very possibly you will find some visual solutions in the rich cultural heritage of the indigenous people of Alaska. So good job there. Can Alaska accommodate? Are there hotels, transportation, security, and venues? Okay, an estimated 304,000. Yeah, this is good. This is really good. But I really want you to talk about the hotel room. How many are available? How many rooms are available? You should be able to find that. Not only in Anchorage, but the surrounding areas within, I don't know, a 60, 70, maybe 100-mile radius. How far would you drive or take a tram or a bus to go from where you're staying to the, I mean, I can't imagine somebody's going to sit on a bus for more than 2 hours a day. So maybe within a 100-mile radius of Anchorage, find out how many hotel rooms are available. Also find out about the transportation infrastructure, meaning that these surrounding areas that are going to help support the population that converges on Anchorage, how easy is it for the people that are staying in surrounding areas? How easy is it to get the back and forth? So in other words, how is the highway system? Is it up to snuff in terms of this kind of traffic? Public transportation, buses, trams, trains, rapid transits, things like that. What is the availability, and is the infrastructure able to accommodate this kind of traffic? Again, everything here points to research. There are 1,000 hotel rooms, but we really need to know how many thousands, and then also segue that into trying to find out how many hotel rooms the IOC, International Olympic Committee, recommends for an event of this magnitude. This is a kind of a non-issue, saying, okay, we fit 500,000 people into Sturgis for a week. But that doesn't really say much. There's no comparing there because I know I've never been to Sturgis, but I got plenty of buddies that go every year, and there's a lot of guys that just crash out together. Like there's a lot of guys that crash at camp, and there's a lot of things that go on in Sturgis that would not be synonymous with an event like the Olympics. Sturgis is really super casual, and the type of target audience that Sturgis attracts is quite different than that of the Olympics, where you would be considering more families, politicians, um, coaches, media, and things that would probably not want to make a more of a casual event such as Sturgis. Okay, so that I think that's a non-issue. So we really need to find out how many hotel rooms are available in, let's say, a 100-mile radius. Let's see. Teams love visiting a venue. Wait. What's this? We are chosen as. Oh, South Dakota. Yeah, you're kind of comparing apples and oranges here still. So a good way to make some comparisons here is to compare to previous Winter Olympic events, where you can say, well, so and so was a successful Winter Olympic event, and they had 3,700 of hotel rooms available, and so many bed and breakfasts, and so many people that are willing to take and rent out parts of their houses, et cetera, et cetera. So look again for previous research from previous events to assist you there. Okay, this is really good. And how well will Anchorage receive? Will the residents receive this type of event? And this is a very pertinent question, because if you take a look at the questions and answers, and I believe David posted a really great resource in there about what happens to a lot of Olympic event venues once the Olympic leaves, and they show them in ruins and just basically what amounts to billions of dollars that is basically wasted, as a lot of these venues are left to go to ruin. Also, it's a great idea to talk about what kind of jobs will an event like this create for the local economy, how it will affect the local economy, but also, to be realistic, you have to take a look at how the event of this magnitude can adversely affect local economies. And a good example there is that example that David left, in that a lot of the venues end up in ruins. So kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back type thing. Hope that makes sense. All right. And the rest, I think, is really good. And good job. I just need some fine tuning here. But one thing I would recommend, and I'm just going to go through my hit list here, because there are a lot of things that I'm talking about for different. You talked about weather a little bit, and I think somebody, Brian, left a really good response to your post. He brings up some really great points, like maybe is it cold enough, but is it too cold? Because it can be dangerous, especially for spectators. And we don't want that, okay? And then he also talks about his approach and methodology for looking at hotel rooms and how he gathered that information. Okay, again, real quick, right over here to the announcements area. If you go to the announcements, open that announcements area up, and you will see example of final project for class, and then considerations for hosting a Winter Olympic City with 5 or 6 references there. So check that out. And then the final thing I want to just mention is just a few bullet points on my hit list. Okay, talk about the weather. You already did venues for sporting events and ceremonies. Are there any pre-existing event venues that you can use, or can any pre-existing venues be modernized or rebuilt with the intent of making them a modern venue? Considerations for athletes, spectators, politicians, media peoples. Where are they all going to stay? Hotel rooms. We talked about that. Affordable and easy navigable transportation infrastructure, energy infrastructure, leisure activities. Nightlife is a huge one. Really important stuff. And are there enough restaurants, movie theaters, etc., to accommodate this robust nightlife that will surely go hand in hand with an event of this magnitude. Restaurants, and then all of that kind of segues right perfectly into public safety. So remember Rio, the games in Rio, how concerned they were that those games were going to be real dangerous, and they were, because the public safety in Rio is not very good, and so that was always a big concern. Environmental sustainability. What's the pollution like? What is the carbon footprint that's going to be left by an event like this? Political climate is a really important thing. I don't think we have to worry about in Anchorage, Alaska, but is it prone to terror attacks? Is it prone to any kind of military escalation from another country? Now, another one is medical accommodations. Are there enough hospital rooms? Are there enough hospital beds? Are there enough emergency clinics available for the few million people that will converge on the location? Okay, and that's really what I have. I think you're well on your way to a really good presentation. So just consider, some of the comments that your peers are making, my comments, and we'll take a look at your final. You don't have to submit anything again additionally for this week. I mean, your initial post was fantastic. So just go ahead and clean up the loose ends and turn in submit your final for, I think it's next. Yeah, it is. It's next week. So all right, any questions, comments, concerns, or other, please let me know. Great job, Krista. Thank you.